Okay, hello everybody. This is Mike here again. So in the last 6 months to a year, I've been experimenting with the Microbit, teaching classes, teaching kids, teachers, and parents how to program with it. So initially I started out with block code, some of the scratch, using MakeCode by Microsoft. So I would teach the kids and the teachers and the parents how to do basic programming using the blocky code. So lately, one cool thing about MakeCode, I can share my screen and show you this, but one cool thing about MakeCode is that you can program in block code and then you can switch over and see what it looks like in JavaScript. So kind of give parents and teachers and kids some introduction to more advanced programming, more high-level programming than block code. So, I mean, I've always known that Microbit can be programmed in JavaScript and in Python. I just hadn't experimented a lot with the Python and the JavaScript. So many people may disagree with me, but sometimes I think JavaScript may not be a great introductory language. As I get more exposed to Python, I'm thinking that Python is probably a little better programming language to start out with young kids, and especially people who haven't had a lot of experience in programming, like a teacher or a parent who's trying to teach their kids now how to do some programming. They start out with block code and then they can jump into Python. And the cool thing about the Microbit and makes it my go-to microcontroller programming teaching aid is its ability to do lots of things, and it has a lot of support for lots of things. So I know I'm probably there's a lot of people going to say no, this is incorrect, but so we got CircuitPython, MicroPython, and Python. I mean, I know there's some differences between all three, CircuitPython, MicroPython, and regular Python, but they're all very similar. They're all kind of the same. And it basically just the Python language, just, you know, variations, colors on the Python language. So the cool thing is that you can teach a kid MicroPython, and they can then when they get into high school and college, they already have a background in Python. That's why I think the Microbit is such a cool teaching and learning aid. Let me share my screen like I kind of normally do. So in the past, I've been using MakeCode with the Microbit. I think you see, if you see some of my past videos, MakeCode is really awesome because the kids don't even have to have a Microbit to program with. They can start out with the simulation, as you can see there on the upper left-hand corner. So this is the JavaScript. So the real cool thing about MakeCode is that you can actually do Python too. So I guess what I'm going to show you is there's lots of different ways to teach Python with the Microbit. Some are easier than others, but that's one of the cool things about the Microbit is there's lots of different ways to crack this egg. So I have the kids, most young kids start out with the block code. Then once they kind of get all the block code figured out, because it's very similar to Scratch, then they can easily flip over and see what the code looks like in both Python and JavaScript. And this is one of the really cool things about MakeCode is that kids don't have to have a Microbit. and they can jump back and forth between the 3 different ways to program it. So I would recommend that if you kind of know MakeCode, kids that understand MakeCode, like MakeCode, to do the introduction to Python through MakeCode. But there's also other cool ways you can do it too. So I kind of talked a lot about MakeCode. So I want to kind of show you some of the other ways to program in Python or MicroPython or CircuitPython. Like I said, I've heard it called many different ways. So MakeCode is one way. Might be the easiest way. Especially if you don't have a Microbit. So yeah, there's all kinds of online research materials and stuff for CircuitPython. So in future classes, I could get into the Raspberry Pi Pico and other ways to use CircuitPython. I don't know if they actually recommend Microbit or versions of the Microbit, but the list is very extensive for. So like I said, CircuitPython is just a variation of MicroPython and Python. I know some people could disagree with that, but it's just the variations on the. So MakeCode is one way to program, and the other way to program it, and it's cool because there's 2 ways to do it. You can download the app, or you can use a web-based editor. So this is the web-based editor. So this is a MicroPython web-based editor. And you can see here's the link. And you can get access to that. So on the microbit.org talks about, I put these links in the description of the video. So the microbit.org Let's Code section right here. If you go down, you can go down to the, let's not confuse the system here. Okay, so you can go, and here's the Python guide, and then you go to the Go Python editor, and that brings up the web-based, server-based Python editor. So the cool thing about this is you don't have to worry about installing Python. It's already there. Use the web to do it. And can just jump in without hardly any setup. You just go to the link on the Microbit website, jump in, start programming. As you can see, they already have the Hello World program for you to run. So everybody does the Hello World program. This one's a little more complicated, but it's pretty easy. You just got to remember that whenever you're using Python, you need to have this from Microbit import all, which gives just basically in a sense, API calls, how to interact with Microbit, the methods and the classes and everything you use to interact with a Microbit is now usable by you in your code. So this is just a while true. So this is probably just, this will run it continuously. It's just basically a loop. Very similar to forever, the forever block code. And this, what will happen is the code underneath this while true will just go on and on and on, because there's no there's no way to turn it false in this code. You can add that, but there's no way to make that a false statement. So as long as it's true, you can just constantly do this. It's just basically a loop, and it displays scroll hello world. And then at the end, after that, it displays an image, which is the heart on the LCD matrix in front. And then the sleep kind of does a break because everything in computers happens so fast that if you didn't put that sleep command in there, it would be so fast you probably wouldn't even see anything happening. So that's the text. You're displaying text, displaying the icon, the image, and then you have it to sleep. So it's pretty simple, basic, straightforward introduction to your first MicroPython code. As you can see up here, you can download it as a hex file to your computer. It's for later. You can then connect to the MicroPython. Right now I have one hooked up, as you can see in the other video, the other camera. I got a MicroPython hooked up to my laptop right now. And then you can, oh, this is a load, this is the load save, sorry. Load save files. You can actually open up a serial port, and which is pretty cool. I'll show you maybe how to do that in another video. Some help, zoom in, so on. Select a language. A lot of cool, and then there's some shortcuts and stuff you can do. So let me connect to the Microbit and download the code. It's really easy. That's what I'm saying. It's this. And this little text window pops up. There's my Microbit. So the editor wants to connect, and so I connect to it. Yeah, I said that wrong. So this is the load save to your computer, text files. This is the flash, the project directly to your Microbit. So if you wanted to save, so you can download the Python script or you can download the hex file, whichever's easier, more convenient for you. You check out the project files. Pretty cool and easy to use. So you can actually, if you have a dot hex file or you have a dot py file, Python file, you can actually drop on there or you can search for it. So I think this is pretty easy, straightforward, and easy to use. So, so now that I'm connected, I'm going to flash download to my Microbit. So let's see if we can watch it do that. Hopefully you can see it flash. See the progress bar. Okay, it's done. It might be hard to see. It's doing hello world and then the heart. And then it keeps repeating because it's a loop. That's what the while true is for. And the heart. It just keeps doing this over and over again. This is just a quick, simple hello world program that almost everybody does. Every programming language does a hello world program just to get you started. Okay. So like I can say, this is the online web-based version. Can make it kind of easy. You don't have to worry about installing anything. You just use it. The other way to do it is So with the editor, and this is basically talking about how to use the editor, text editor, hello world, displays, so on. Kind of walks you through everything, how to debug and everything. We can talk about a lot of that later on. So you can actually, if you want, I think it's here in the Python guide. You see the online editor, hello world, like we just did. Set up your mic. There's really not much to do on the setup. Lots of documentation, how to use everything, data, and so on. So I just would be just to, you know, explore this. Just remember, you have to have this from Microbit import to basically get the API, the classes and everything that you need. And then you can, if you don't want to use the online editor, yeah, they also recommend, sometimes you might have issues with your browser. They recommend Chrome or Edge, the latest versions. This is more details on how to do everything. But you can also, if you prefer, you can actually download the editor, mu, and then you just pick the, you know, what OS you're using, Windows, Mac, Python package, whatever, Linux users. I think there's some little issues with Linux and using this editor. It's a little bit more difficult, harder to do, but you just click on, most people have 64-bit Windows now. You just click on that, download it, and then install. So here's the app, and it's very similar, almost exactly. It looks exactly the same. It's just a little bit different here on the top. The cool thing is you can use different. See if I can find it here. So here's Python 3. Here's they use Raspberry Pi Pico. So if you want to, this is actually a cool way because you can do microbit programming with the Pico using the same editor as the microbit. So once you've kind of figured out the microbit, then you can move to the Raspberry Pi Pico, and your code should work because it's Python and you're not programming, it's not compiling for your OS interpreter. It will work on whatever device that you're using. You can use Python 3, Pygame 0, MicroPython, PyBoard, Lego, MicroPython. So the cool thing is that, yeah, Spike devices can now use MicroPython. ESP32 boards. Here's your CircuitPython. And then the cool thing is it actually has a module for Microbit, BBC Microbit. And that's what I'm set up for. So the online version and the app are almost, like I said, very similar. I can create a new script, load the script, save the script. So I want to load a Python file or a .hex file or save the file. So it's actually saving down here to my downloads area. Probably want to change that to like a project area so I can find them easily. Flash the MicroPython files. This is the like the serial. I'll show you later how to do that. Plotting, zoom in and out, themes, basically check it. So there's all kinds of really cool things you can do with it. So as you can see, since I started it up, it already recognized. I think it's already recognized my MicroPython. Hopefully it didn't just lock up. Oh no. Okay, that's just like a arrow. Okay, where does it go? So it's already recognized the MicroPython. So let's do this again. Show you how simple and easy it is to do the program with Microbit, MicroPython. Get started. Anybody can do it, I think. It's so simple. So I'm going to flash again. Should be able to see it. Okay. And I think this uploaded really quickly. So let's flip it back over. Whoop. Flip it back over. As you can see, it switched over the skull. There's your hello world and the skull. I changed the images just to make it easy to see how, or make it so you can see that I uploaded it both with the app and with the web-based GUI programming tool. So within minutes, I think it's really easy to teach somebody how to start developing or programming the MicroPython with the Microbit. So you have basically 3 options. I would suggest you explore all 3. Each one has a little advantages and disadvantages. The MU is pretty cool because you can use that to program the Raspberry Pi Pico and other devices. MakeCode is really cool because you can, as you're just learning, understanding MicroPython, you can do block code in JavaScript and MicroPython by just flipping the little switch basically and jumping back and forth from one example to the other. I help you get started. Lots of cool documentation online from Microbit. All kinds of documentation, how to jump into using the different programming languages. The editor itself has a lot of good examples and walkthroughs to tell you how to do everything. This is basically to tell you how to use the online editor. And then making sure that you import from Microbit imports, all how to save stuff. Yeah, this repel is really cool. We can get to this as another video. Because you can type stuff in and you can communicate back and forth between you and your Microbit. I just think the Microbit is a great way to get people started in MicroPython. Yeah, more of the same. This is where you download the editor. If you're not going to use MakeCode, or well, after using MakeCode for a while, you might want to try this editor out, the MU editor. So you can do the app, or the web-based version. Now, some people don't have internet connection, so you might want to have both. And just experiment with both, so you have experience with both. And then make sure you take advantage of all these really cool resources that BBC, Microbit have for you, tutorials, programming examples. So here's the API references. This is why you're doing that from, so you can access all the cool sensors and Bluetooth and buttons and compasses and all kinds of stuff on the Microbit, I2C, speech, all that kind of really cool stuff. And I would just recommend going through the documentation one area at a time. I mean, I could do that, but I'm sure you'd be very bored by it. So here's the Hello World program without the loop. Great examples. At least to get started. So I just wanted to kind of do a quick video about how easy it is to start jumping into using MicroPython with our Microbit, and how there's pretty much 3 different ways: make code, MU app, or the online web-based MicroPython app. And all of them are like, so make code's Microsoft. This MU thing is supported by Microbit, so you're not going to have to worry about this stuff going out of date or getting behind and so on. And it's a great introduction for kids, adults, and teachers. This stuff's not really that hard. That's the big thing I like to tell people, that this is not really that hard to jump in and start doing MicroPython programming. And it's like anything, it's easy to start, but then the cool part is like a computer game. The cool part is learning all the intricacies, all the different syntax, and all the different really cool things you can do with a MicroPython. You got the compass, and then takes the temperature. Well, I think it's like a little CPU in there. How to manipulate the LED matrix and everything in MicroPython. So I can show you examples in the future on how to do MicroPython instead of make code for programming. It's really easy. So that's pretty much it. I hope this kind of helped you and show you how easy it is to use MicroPython. I'm probably repeating myself on that, but I think if you watch my previous videos, the Microbit is just a cool way to introduction to people, especially people who don't know a lot about programming and computers and microcontrollers. So pretty cool. If you have any comments, suggestions, please put them down in the comment area of the video. I'll try to get to them in future videos. Show you how to do stuff. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next videos. And cool. Thanks. Bye.